Hashtag Daddy2. Is a children's rights bill turning into Iceland's biggest corruption story? Now, this is somewhat outside of my usual topic realm, but since the story came my way towards the end of the weekend and earlier this week it started unfolding, I just can't ignore it. And I wrote an article about it, and I'm just going to read that article out to you so you guys get to know what's going on. So, the bill in mention now being processed in the Icelandic parliament has been labeled Tálmunarfrumvarpið. Tálmun, an act, can be translated to barring for our purposes in English. The barring bill thus addresses an act often perpetrated by mothers, though there might be cases of fathers who retain custody of their children doing the same thing. The act in mention is the intended barring or limitation of the other parent's access to the child, and more broadly, to other custodians and relatives even. This has been somewhat misconstrued as a father's right issue, perhaps because fathers are the vast majority of parents being barred, or potentially it has been misconstrued in this manner because having it be a father's rights issue would make it somewhat irrelevant, which would disturb quite a few people. But the fact of the matter is that this is a children's rights issue. It's argued and presented as a children's rights issue, and the foundation of the suggested amendment is drawn out of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. This is thus also a matter of honoring international law. The bill in mention suggests one sentence to be added to one article in the existing Barnaverndarlög, English Child Protection Act, Article 98, which reads as follows. Ef þeir sem hafa barn í sinni umsjá misþyrma því andlega eða líkamlega, misbjóða því kynferðslega eða á annan hátt, vanrækja það andlega eða líkamlega þannig að lífi eða heilsu þess hætta búin, þá varða það fangelsi allt að 5 árum nema þyngri refsing liggi fyrir samkvæmt öðrum lögum. And here for the English translation. Now this is my translation, it's not an official translation. If those who have a child in their custody abuse it mentally or physically, violate it sexually or in any other manner, neglect it mentally or physically so that its life or health is deemed threatened, they may be served with up to 5 years imprisonment unless a heavier sentence is in order according to other existing law. The suggested amendment reads as follows. Tálmi það foreldri sem barn býr hjá hinu foreldrinu eða öðrum sem eiga umgengnisrétt samkvæmt úrskurði, dómi, dómsátt foreldra eða samningi þeirra staðfestum af sýslumanni að neita umgengnisréttar eða takmarki hann varða það fangelsi allt að 5 árum. So again, my English translation, not an official one. Should the parent the child lives with bar the other parent or others who have a right to custody/visitation according to a verdict, court order, parental settlement, or their agreement as confirmed/vetted by the district magistrate from pursuing their rights of custody/visitation or limit that right, they may be served with up to 5 years imprisonment. So it would then seem as if this would exclude the cases wherein a judge has awarded sole custody either on the grounds of violence, abuse, or whatever reason a parent might be legally deemed unfit or a threat to the child's well-being. As previously mentioned, the presenters of the bill cite the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, highlighting Article 7 in particular, which reads as follows. Article 7. 1. The child shall be registered immediately after birth and shall have the right from birth to a name, the right to acquire a nationality, and, as far as possible, the right to know and be cared for by his or her parents. Parents, plural. States parties shall ensure the implementation of these rights in accordance with their national law and their obligations under the relevant international instruments in this field, in particular where the child would otherwise be stateless. On top of the UN, now I'm going back to my text. On top of the UN Convention, the presenters of the bill also mention the scientific literature and data stressing that it's been proven quite clearly that the child's access to both parents is crucial to its development and well-being. And thus the case they're arguing is that restricting the child's and that parents' access to each other and ability to be a part of each other's life is as detrimental to the child as any other form of neglect or abuse, and should thus be subject to the same form of action and penalty within the legal system. It's worthy of note that the existing law and the amendment stress up to 5 years, in Icelandic, allt að 5 árum, which surely gives us a flexible framework to understand that there are degrees to which the child is affected and degrees to how severe the violation and thus penalty might be, case by case specifically. That was rough. I'm sorry. Case by case specifically. So, even irrespective of whether we'd find 5 years to be too great a sentence, the bill does not prohibit the courts from setting their precedent within that wide open a scope from 0 days to 5 full years, nor does the existing law in regard to the forms of abuse it lists. So, what's the opposition? Is it, maybe we should have a smaller sentence, or maybe just fines or something? Is it, maybe we have a gray area wherein the burden of proof to award sole custody is tough and we should allow for more government surveillance measures? No, it's none of that. It's quite simply bury the bill, bury the case, defame and kill off that movement and control the narrative in the media. Or at least, given the most recent leak, that seems to be the case. The Sunday night leak, anonymously posting a 2-page memo containing snapshots from a secret Facebook group, lit up several groups and forums and stirred the Icelandic online community up. These shots revealed women, some in as prominent positions as political elites and media personnel, journalists, etc., bashing the bill, the Daddy 2 movement, and strategizing how to sabotage it. One comment suggested the hashtag should be flooded with defamation stories about the founders and most vocalized members of the hashtag Daddy2 movement. One can only wonder why, if those stories exist, it hasn't been suggested that the individual in mention is simply summoned to court, because surely, should he be deemed unfit, the bill wouldn't necessarily stand to benefit him at all. So many have asked whether they're looking for facts or simply anything anyone would make up to serve as a politically motivated character assassination. The leak then exploded when people started posting these revelations onto political groups and chat forums, where some of the exposed women as well as others lashed against it, some not hesitating to reveal their hardline stances on the matter. The Pirate Party discussion group then suffered another blow when moderators started removing threads related to the issue. The party has since announced it's launching a feminist movement within the party, and this might result in a split among both members and voters, as many have condemned the party's actions as this unfolded. Whether similar events are taking place within other parties remains less known at this point, but surely this is not something a party would want to experience with only 2 months to go till municipal elections are held in the country. It also remains to be seen whether political parties will be called out to comment on some of the words of their identified party members exposed in the leak. The same might be expected for the big media companies, as it relates to their identified staff members whose journalistic integrity is on the line. Many Icelanders seem of the opinion that this story will successfully be buried locally unless the global media picks it up first, thus forcing the local media to address the issue. Reaching out to the MPs who originally presented the bill would be a good start. So yeah, that's that. And this is only one reason of many that this week has been kind of hectic. I've seen a bit less of me than last week. So yeah, anyways, take this as you will and explore it and spread it. There will be more to come, and as this unravels, even though it's an off topic for me, I will be covering it because this needs to be covered. You know, there are gonna be lessons here, so it's got to be covered, and there are gonna be lessons on dialogue progression and narrative progression. So yeah, so we need to study this stuff. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you guys, and be well.